You know what, honestly, that's what they should be doing. Maybe they should be wearing a shirt, but that's like debatable, right? Who am I? Am I the shirt police? Do the shirt police exist? Find out on this episode of Rainbows and Razor Blades. There will be grass, like in between, obviously. And then there'll be a geranium where this blank space is. It's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. No, it's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. I'll give them something to talk about. Are we starting over? We were just starting to have violent transsexual. I'll give them something to talk about. We're starting over after just starting to have. When you close your eyes, did you see healthy things? Were you terrorized for trying to spread your wings? When you opened your third eye, did they poke it out? Baby, get on the dance floor, show me what it's about. It's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. No, it's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. I'll give them something to talk about. We're starting over after just starting to have. We're starting over after just starting to have. Baby, get on the dance floor, show me what it's about. It's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. No, it's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. I'll give them something to talk about. Are we starting over? We were just starting now. When you close your eyes, did you see healthy things? Were you terrorized for trying to spread your wings? I would rather die than ever praise your king. Apostatize, put your eyes down, cut off your rings. It's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. No, it's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. I'll give them something to talk about. We're starting over after just starting now. We're starting over after just starting now. Baby, get on the dance floor, show me what it's about. It's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. No, it's not over until the schizophrenic cat sings. I'll give you something to talk about. Are we starting over after just starting now? We're starting over after just starting now. Baby, get on the dance floor, show me what it's about. Show me what it's about. Baby, get on the dance floor, show me what it's about. Welcome back to Rainbows and Razor Blades, a show from the void. By the Gregorian calendar, it is currently the 18th day in the 8th month, the month of August, in the year of the Lord 2022. By the solar calendar, neo-pagan, and French Revolutionary calendar, it is currently The first day in the month of fruit. We just left the month of heat. This is the last month of the year. We come live today from Anley Pond in Albany, New York, and the Shaker Heritage site. There's not really super too much to see here, but this is where we are. We'll be back after this. It's the same goose as here. It's I was hoping it wouldn't be, you know. It must be injured or something, or just like there's something wrong with that goose. Obviously, it does not fly away. It's been standing right here in this same plot of land for like literally a week now, because today is August 18th, and it was like the 12th, I think, the last time when I first saw it. You can see that its wing is kind of stuck out like that. Maybe it's just chilling, but like I think it's hurt though. There's something definitely like fucked up with that. See how its like legs fucked up and shit? It's fucked up, bro. That's fucked up, bro. So yeah, it's fucked up. I don't know what to do. I mean, I can't kill it, you know. Nature's not going to take its course. It's just going to keep eating and pooping and having a miserable life, and I feel bad, you know. Obviously, that goose is still there. I've been thinking about that because it's like, same, bro. I feel the same as that. I feel like I got a busted wing. That's why one of my songs is you can't fly with burnt wings. You play my heart like guitar strings, snapping, gasping for air. It's a pretty good song. It's about a junkie. There's a threshold of mental illness that people are willing to overlook because they just don't want to get involved, because they recognize that the system itself can't really deal with that person. Now, there are people who just like to insert themselves into other people's business, but that's more about them, that's more about the person inserting themselves into other people's business than it is whoever they're victimizing. Like calling the police on every homeless man, like you're just victimizing him. You know, on the flip side of that is like, well, what if it becomes like the streets of any given different homeless shanty town, you know? It's like, shit, not in my backyard. There's a whole word for those NIMBYs. There's a certain threshold of like ugliness, physical disformity outside of the preferred normative, healthy, you know, attractive, sexually or not. Like if you had to walk 10 miles and you had to pick from 10 people, who are you going to pick? You're going to pick the ones that are looking like they're a certain shape. You know, that's why it's called being in shape. You know, and then you'll ask the rest of them after you pick those people that are just in good bodies. All right, the rest of you justify it with your mind. Body first, then mind. You know, my society kind of flips that on its head, kind of to the point where it ignores the body, and that's a real problem. You know, people that don't know how to be a body, and it's also unfortunate for people who are just not blessed to be born in those bodies. You know, those people are kind of like lesser than everyone else, and people are like, that's not true, but it's like, but it is true, and you know it's true. You know it's true. You can't look at like somebody and not think that they're worth more than someone else. You can find two people that the self-worth, the worth between them is a very slim margin, and that there may be no discernible reason or rhyme or distinction between the two. Maybe it's a gut feeling. But then there's other people you compare and you're just like, how did this person get so unlucky? And also, why did their mind fracture the way that it did as a result? Like the normative body type people don't seem to have these different dysgenic, out of shape problems the way that the rest of these people do. Like when you go to the store and you hear which people are talking, they look a certain way, and you already know who you're going to see before you see it, and they all look the same, right? And you can map those types of patterns to the point where it's such a strong stereotype that you don't even have to be accused of dog whistling. It's just there's a word for it, and we use it in common parlance amongst each other, you know, and that word is fat. It's like, if you think that isn't a pejorative, you're wrong. It is. It's a bad thing to be fat.
You can have fat people that aren't bad people. I would say most fat people are not bad people. It's just that it's a strict disadvantage. It's like, who am I going to choose if I have a boat that could only save 10 people? Right? Like the really fat guy with $1 million, or the two skinny guys that are in shape and look like they could sail across the world? Our instincts are oriented that way because we had to survive biologically. And the people that are alive today don't even look like they could survive biologically a day without, like, a cheeseburger, or whatever their comfort food of choice is. Now, I'm not really trying to shame them for that. I'm just telling you what it is. Like, there's this very weird religion in my country where, like, we kind of, like, worship the degeneracy in a way. It's like we have accepted the decadence as spiritually enlightened. It's almost like it's a good thing. It's like, oh, you can't speak down upon that. That's something that people are suffering with. It's like, what? What? Like, I would tell my kids straight up, like, hey, listen, you're starting to get fat. People would be like, you're a bad parent for that. It's like, am I though? I actually don't even think I would ever have to tell my kid that. First of all, I'm not having kids, but if I was, I don't even think I would ever have that problem, because you know why? My kids just wouldn't get that way, because it's not genetic like that. It's not. It's behavioral. Almost all the time, it's behavioral. There's a certain mold that you're genetically born to that you can't defy. You can do your best to, but you're never going to be able to defy it, right? Now, as an extreme body modificationist, I speak from significant experience in this capacity. I know the difference between fat and skinny. I know the difference between perceived male and not perceived male, because I don't want to say I know what it's like to be perceived female. I don't, but I know what it's like to not be perceived male. And most people just default that into nothingness. It's just a void that I disappear to when I walk by them in a grocery store. The only reason they might remember me is because I have bright red hair and a goofy shirt, and sometimes I'm not wearing it. And that sticks in people's mind, They're like, oh wow, that's crazy. But it offends some people, right? My human body offends some people. And I just think that that's the worst tragedy. But at the same time, I get it, because, like, I'm not trying to watch some, like, fat fucking dude loaf around, sweaty fucking potbelly, looking like this gross-ass animal that he is, wandering around in the public park. It's disgusting. It's like, where would I rather this guy be? Fucking, I don't know, wearing a shirt. It's gross. But at the same time, is it illegal? No. So I mind my own fucking business, and I just, like, ugh. I grimace at it because I don't like it. And then I make these videos about it. Because it's like, oh, I'm curious. If I took my shirt off right now, right here, what would happen? I've done it before. I've actually done it quite a few times. I'm not really in the mood to today. I might go later to a different field and do it, just for a little more privacy and sanctity of mind. But I don't want to run the experiment today. There's been other days where I'm like, I don't care who walks up. Oh no, your kids. Oh no, you're not in front of your dog. Really? In front of my dog? Like, that's how I feel when people use their kids as an excuse. It's like, I don't care. I don't care about your small animals. Like, it's not my concern. It will never be my concern. And I don't have to show respect to it. Right? Now, there's a difference between, there are laws. There's laws in the book. They've been on the book. So one of those laws is called indecent exposure. Right now, this is not legal advice. I've just Googled this. This is Google. Right, so according to Google, which is not legal advice and should not be confused with looking it up in the penal code yourself to affirm whether what I say is true or not. This is a disinformation campaign. But to my knowledge, right, there is a law in the book. I couldn't cite you the statute or the number in the penal code, but it's called public lewdness, and there's another one called indecent exposure. Now, these have been deemed against terms of service, but not indecent, at least in New York. So I can't put them on Google's hard drive, like I can't upload it to YouTube, right? So that they will kick me off. But the cops can't fucking stop me, right? Because otherwise, like, some mentally ill old lady with dementia will walk outside with no shirt, and all of a sudden it's indecent. There's no decency left. No decency left in the world. We gotta call the cops to enforce decency, because it's just indecent. And where does that stop? Like, first of all, who decides who's decent and who is not? Like, what if, I mean, geez, man, we could run this experiment back to Jim Crow if we really wanted to. Right? Like, people make prejudicial laws that have been deemed unconstitutional. And part of that in my state is the part of the law that dictates from the areola down only on female bodies. It's like, you can't do that. You can't punish people for being a female. You can't restrict them in that way. You are allowed to free the nipple. So it's not illegal, but it's wacky. Like, you don't see it every day. And I wonder why that is, and I wonder why I started wearing a shirt. I think it's out of fear. And I think that fear is rooted mostly in what the police and the public will do. I don't think that the police lawfully can do anything about it. I don't think they'd try now that I've studied the issue. I think they probably have been trained, like, yeah, that's not an issue. And if someone calls in, they'd be like, yeah, that's not an issue. Like, at most, they'd make, like, consensual-ish contact, and they'd be like, hey. And I'd be like, and they'd be like, what are you doing out here? You got any ID? And I'd be like, I just do that at them. I'd be like, you got your body camera on? I start going off about the right of the people to be secure. And their person's house's papers and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, nor shall any warrant issue but upon probable cause and supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched or the person or thing to be seized. Like, that's a pretty robust protection, right? Then there's the Fifth Amendment. That one's even better. It's like, no one shall be made to bear witness against one's self. So that means you have the right to shut the fuck up. Just don't talk. Because if I was doing it to be provocative, then I would wear a banana hammock. Which I'm not going to do. Because I'm going to wear these combat pants. And no shirt. Now this says breaking news. I don't care. And that is how I feel about the feelings police, right? And the shirt police are the feelings police. Now, in other parts of the country, that may not be the case. I can't speak to that. I think it's unjustifiably immoral. I think it's punitive against women. I think it's deplorable. But I'm not a legal expert, and I'm not here to pick apart how it got to be that way. All I know is that where I live, allegedly, and I want to test this, is that you can do whatever you want with a shirt or without a shirt. Now, that doesn't mean you can go on private property. Now, that doesn't mean that you can go in restricted areas, which I don't know why a shirt would change between those two things. You know, the no shirt, no shoes, no service is a law of trespass, and maybe, I have to look into this, maybe a health code violation? Like, I don't know. I actually don't know. But that's not important to me because that isn't what I'm trying to test. That isn't what I'm trying to audit. And I'm not necessarily trying to bait the police. I'm trying to audit what people are doing. Like, this is a fucking audit. A shirts off audit. Like, that's what I'm doing. You got any ID on you? Why would I have fucking ID on me, bro? You think I'm gonna carry around fucking ID on me? No shot. Why would I have to do that? I'm not driving. I'm biking. I'll have to look into that too, because they could probably get me on some stupid ass shit. So I have to be very careful, you know, about where I bike, when I bike, and it'll invite trouble. It will, because once inevitably they do identify me, and they will identify me, they being the police, if the police get involved, which I certainly don't think they will, but they might. And they might do so in an extrajudicial manner. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to break into my car and steal money? People already fucking do that with a screwdriver, whether the cops or not. You know, and the cops aren't helping with that either. So what the fuck do I need the fucking cops? You know, what are they going to do? They're going to pull me over. Oh, you're going to give me more footage from my YouTube channel, right? I'm going to get a webcam, live streaming 24/7, looking for trouble. And by looking for trouble, I'm just going to be a law-abiding citizen with or without a shirt, wherever I go. And I think that that's a really interesting way to travel, is unimpeded by the law, to the best of your ability, flexing your freedom, like really being as free as humanly possible, without legally, like now that isn't to say that I'm going to go around and actively disturb the peace, right? For example, a bullhorn, probably an unrestricted First Amendment thing. You can try to pass noise ordinance, you can try to ticket on those grounds, but it's going to get overturned at the circuit court eventually, and you'll just have to pass some other dipshit law, and hope that someone else runs out of money or gets harassed or just bumps down the line so far that they settle and they pay, or they just, something to adjudicate it so that it doesn't tamper with the case law. They don't want to deal with that, right? And that's not what I'm there to do. Like, the intention is not to get run out of town. The intention is to teach people about their freedom. The intention is to show people what freedom really could look like. Now, there's a couple ways to do that, right? Like, you could, and I'm not going to do this, and I don't represent a faction that would do this. You could take the Nazi flag and put it on the transgender flag. Like, people wouldn't see it coming, and then put the Star of David in the middle. People would not see it. They'd be like, oh, what do we do? Who do we call? Is this illegal, or are we just butthurt? And the thing is like, depending on where you go, that question could be very different. There are some places in the world where, like, they'll shoot you dead just for thinking about it, right? They'll hear me saying it, and the precognitive psychic power men will drop a ball, and then my balls will get dropped, and that'll be the end of that. They'll show up in their fucking helicopters, put me in a halo, and that'll be the end of me. I will rot away in pre-crime prison, but instead, I think what it is that most people are completely irrational, completely insane, but they're following a system of rules that they don't really understand because they're being tyrannized by them. And they're too demoralized and propagandized to try to work their way through the rat maze. The rat maze. Right? It's a cage. You can run their maze. You can try to get their cheese, but you're still living in their maze. It's not until you try to at least get on top of the maze that you even see that there really is a maze. And I think part of that is shirts. I know that sounds stupid, but I really think that part of that is shirts and nipples. Now, again, I'm not suggesting that every single person should just take their shirt off. There's a lot of questions to be addressed. Like, for example, if someone's filming, does that make it my criminal activity? If they're filming me, is that criminal? What if they're doing it for nefarious purposes? What if, and I'm absolutely not suggesting this to be the case, what if I tell them I'm 17? I'm not 17, I'm 30. But I tell them, I'm 17, right? So you can't, do anything with that, right? You actually just committed a felony. So would it be unlawful? And again, I'm not suggesting that we do this. So, say you wanted to shut down a protest, right? Would it be unlawful to send... I think it would, because it'd be a solicitation of a minor, right? But what if the minor decided to protest on their own? I'm not suggesting that they do this. Right, I actually think this is a bad idea, and you shouldn't do this, because I think it's an improper use of redressing of grievance by being an agent provocateur. I think I'm saying that right. But you send in someone who unlawful, it'd be unlawful to film them, or would it? I don't know, and I'm really trying to test this out. But they come up with the idea on their own, which no one's gonna believe in court, but they can't prove otherwise. They go out, they take their shirt off in front of the Nazis, and then the Nazis can't do their photo op, right? Say the Nazis come to your town hall, right? And they're trying to take over and be on the stairs and have their guns out, and open carry is legal. It's not in my state, but in some states it is, and they're like, us and our flag, Can you send a half-naked, not fully, full bottom, no shirt, no bra, underage person to just walk in front of them and go da, 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 da. Is that kid breaking the law? The person who sent them certainly would be, but again, they allegedly sent themselves. Right? Now, a better way to do this is to play like any given different top 10 hit, because it'll make it much more difficult to distribute it because of like YouTube policies, basically. Like, you could basically, you will get sued if you put this music on for any reason, period. We control it. So then they won't be able to use their propaganda video. They'll have to, like, dub it over with, like, whatever stupid Valkyrie Rising white ethno bullshit that they do. I actually have no idea. I'm curious about this. Like, what would the law be? You know, there's other ways to protest, you know, and people they act like I'm crazy for some of these ideas. That last idea was crazy, but, like, they act like I'm crazy for some of these ideas, and I don't think that I am any more than any given different quote-unquote activist. And I don't think it takes a radical so-called activist to go and get, like, lawfully or unlawfully allegedly arrested. Like, by going and, like, is it freedom of speech if 50 people lay down in the middle of the road and all get arrested? Is that free speech? Are the charges going to be dropped? Are they going to be charged with, like, obstructing a road? Or, like, whatever the fuck the charge is. Like, oh, I'm not going to ID. Okay, well, now you were lawfully detained and you didn't ID. Now you're getting charged with, like, obstruction or, like, whatever. 13 minutes. We'll be right back after this. Like a moth to a flame, I would try to explain, but I'm going insane myself. Why don't you watch your own back or watch my own health? Like a rat in a cage, I watched you try to escape. Now you're running there, maze for cheese. Drop your pretense, it's a mask. Murder on Halloween. Like a moth to a flame, I would try to explain, but I'm running the maze myself. Why don't you watch your own back or watch my own health? Welcome back to Rainbows and Razor Blades, a show where we're discussing a whole bunch of really problematic nonsense. So, here's another interesting thought experiment. You know, you can't lawfully protest at school using certain icons, right? Because school children are already, I don't know what fucking it was, maybe Brown versus Ford, Tinker Des Moines. I'm trying to remember what it was. It may have been Tinker. But there's a decision that was made by the Supreme Court that basically says to the effect that, and this is again not legal advice because I'm not a lawyer and I'm probably quoting this wrong, you have to look this up, this is a disinformation campaign, but it's something to the effect of the kids don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy. They just don't, right? Now there are certain things that you can't, like, compel a child to do or say or show, right? You can't compel them to speak. You can't make them incriminate themselves. Obviously, you can't just be like, take off your pants. I'm an adult. You know, you can't do that. You know, there's certain policies that are in place within the school that may be not unlawful, but at least cover for possible civil litigation, we'll say. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because that's a whole other thing. School policy versus what law actually would allow if the policies weren't so fucking much tighter than the law. Because think about that. And then it's good that it's that way if you believe in the institution of public education, you know. I still do the felony check. Like, you gotta look over your shoulder, make sure you're not getting a felony for what you're doing. Because, like, the cops will wait until you, like, light it up. Right, then they can say, like, oh, they smelled it. Because otherwise they can say, oh, we observed it. It's like, I'm sorry, officer, you said you observed it from the car? You observed it, that's what you're going to write in your report? Okay, where were we sitting exactly? Oh, we were sitting how many yards away was that? 50 or 60? You're saying that you saw a grinder from 50 or 60 yards away? What, you got binoculars? Why are you watching us with binoculars? Oh, you don't have binoculars. Funny. What was your reasonable suspicion then? Where's your probable cause? Can I get your badge number? That's a classic. What do you mean she told a Nazi joke? I did not see that coming. Oh, that's what your mom said when I took my pants off last night? Okay, so I have this idea that, you know, I'll always have my guitar with me. The idea is that I'll be like, listen, I will tell you the truth and even hand you my ID, which is not really lying to an officer, right? I'll have my fingers crossed when I say it. I'll be like, bro, I had my fingers crossed when I said that. You seen that? That's not a legal thing. That's the thing is like your speech is different than your speech actions. Think about that. Like if you're shaking your head and you're saying yes or you're saying no, like like it's the verbal. It's like court's an interesting thing because like there's an objective truth and then there's what you could prove. And it's interesting that there's such a wide range of discrepancy between that, and that discrepancy is now being filled for the first time with the objective truth. And it's funny watching the system kind of like adapt around that, and it's kind of like getting hit with sunlight. It's like it's bursting into flames like a vampire. Like these people have never been held accountable. They've built an empire and a regime and an entire underground power structure without the light of day right under our noses, and like we've known about it because it's under our noses, but like we haven't been able to do anything about it. So I think what I'm going to do, kind of in protest, is like I'm not going to go trespass and do what Cartnark does and go try to put magnets on people's cars. I'm going to stand there with no shirt and a fucking sign that just says like a bunch of different like offensive bullshit, like a bunch of bullshit. And then, I'll have like a bunch of different signs, like whatever mood I'm in, like that's gonna be the sign that I got. Like I got like a bunch of my artwork. Like I'm not selling it. Like you can't buy it. Like none of my signs say, "Give me $5, I'll sell you anything." Because I'm not here vending anything. If you want to donate me $50, that's lit. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm gonna be reciprocally nice and give you a poster because you gave me $50. That's about what I would sell a poster for if I was selling a poster, and I'm not selling the poster. It's different. It's not, and I'm not even trying to imply that I'm selling the poster. See, you see how that game works? and I think it'd be really cute to just go around traveling, and then people will probably shoot me. They'll probably shoot, rape, beat, whatever. They'll kill me. They'll arrest, detain, mangle, strip, and hurt me. Because they'll be butthurt. They'll be jealous. They'll be, oh, you fucking this and that. Let them. Like, I need someone probably to go with me because I'll be scared on my own. I'll be like, no. Or I'll need like 10,000 people to watch my back on my live streams every time I pop up. Like, yo, we out. But the thing is like, I see what happens to like, what's his nuts. Duel continues. Or maybe they're not dueling. I really don't know what they're up to. But they have emerged. The beavers of Anley Pond. Aww. What's this doing? Is that it even? I guess we'll be back when we see it. Unless if that's it right there, just like kind of like casually swimming. I think that is. Let's see if he's gonna go up on the thing or under. He's probably gonna go under. Yeah, he went under. Which means we'll probably see him at the other side. Like right over here. I don't want to spook him, so I kind of want to just stay here. Because I could get up to get a better angle, but like, I don't want to spook him. Today is the first day in the month of fruit, and that's kind of an important day because, I'll just start over. So today is the first day in the month of fruit, and if you kind of look up at the trees, I'll make it a little brighter for you. See, they're all green, like every single one of them is super green. Very, very, very soon, like I'm talking matter of like days, the very first ones are going to start to fall from the trees and turn yellow. And once it starts, man, it goes fast. You can see it on this side, actually. It starts to look like that. Very soon, that's going to be every single tree. And like I said, it goes fast. So that's going to be really cool. It's my favorite part of nature. I call it the tree bloom, which is not really what it is. It's the changing. It's everyone around here knows it. And it's a beautiful part of nature. It's I hope to be alive for it. gonna eat this apple to celebrate the day of fruit. Here's a crazy one. This one is called potato bean. I don't know anything about it, and I had never seen anything like it before. And I thought originally it was part of this plant, but I realized that I was like, this is dead. I was like, so what is this? And I started looking really close, and it's a vine. And I was like, whoa, a vine that I didn't know about? And like, but it really was. I did not know this existed, and now I'm like hyped for it. This is called potato bean. I mean, what a ridiculously beautiful plant to just like find today. Wow. This is incredible. I never thought that I would find a new flower, you know? I just like, I didn't think about it. Wow. This is such a cool plant. This may be one of my new favorites. Potato bean. It's in kind of like a marshy, wet environment. That's Articuno. That's low-key Zapdos. Okay, so that one is a downy woodpecker, the one that you're hearing, and the one you saw was a great blue heron. It's mostly getting a reflection. Let's see if I can get it to like focus on what's under the water with the shadow. There's like these little like worm things. Let me see. Where are they? If I can go all the way out there. You see them? Isn't that gross, bro? Like, what are they doing in there? I don't even know what the fuck they are. But they're definitely like alive. Like, it's not like a plant, just like. There's a bunch of them. They're like everywhere. Alright, some type of worm. Aquatic worms. On this episode of Rainbows and Razor Blades. So as we approach the bridge, we got goldenrod. I don't know what type exactly, but someone might. But it's definitely goldenrod. And then we got jewelweed. Wow. What a beautiful plant. That's just like one flower among many, see? I think there's like weird little like crawl-in spaces with like dangly things. Okay. And we got purple leaf strife, which some say is invasive. Others say it is probably not, although it can be. Usually it's just chilling. Oh, look, we got, for the first day of fruit, we got wild grapes starting. That's this one, the vine. Wait, let me zoom out a little. This one. Yeah. And then on top of that, as always, we got the Oriental Bittersweet. Just terrible. Alright, off we go on the Schwinn. I was trying to film those birds, but, oh yeah, there they are a little bit. You can see them a little bit. They're really flocking, you know? It shows you how many more birds that there probably would be if we didn't holocaust all the bugs. Probably pretty disrupted by, you know, like everything, I guess. But wow, man, yeah, look at that. Crazy. Now we're gonna stop for sure. I mean, this is quite the show, you know. Quite the flocking spectacle. Sorry. Get out of my shop, bro. got like a 20% survival chance where it is, because the odds of it going back where it came from pretty low, and the odds that it's going to find life for reproduction on that end even lower. The odds that it even survives the highway, no shot, you know? So, like, maybe it goes back where it came from, but either way, I mean, the species kind of just straight up dies, you know? It's kind of fucked up. Everything's like that these days. Like, every fucking thing is just habitat fragmentation. So it's like, you're not just killing one animal with the road that you're building. Oh no! You're actually killing every single animal that could have been around it, that could have crossed it. And that's what's more important. So, like, we have so much roads, so much highways that just, like, wildlife, you know, it's being destroyed completely. Annihilated, reduced to nothing. Let's see if we see that goose, and then after that, we're on our way home. These two other teenagers, I didn't film them. They were a little younger than me. They were also walking up to this turtle, so I filmed the turtle, but I didn't fuck with it or verbalize, because they were just kind of standing there, and I tend to just keep to myself. So, yeah, that goose, I'm sure, will still be here somewhere. Although I don't immediately see it, but I'll bet it's around here somewhere. Hopefully, maybe it got out of here, you know. But we'll see. So there's this cute burqa girl next to. Well, actually, I don't know if she was a cute burqa girl. I assume she's a cute burqa girl. It's hard to tell. They're in a burqa. That's kind of the point. But then there was the one next to her in a hijab, and I was like, wow, I have not had someone sweep me off my feet with that flutter in my heart. I was like, oh shit. Like, I could definitely impregnate you. And she's looking at me like, yes, daddy. Which really freaked me out. And then when I caught her eyes the second time, she smiled. And I hope she saw me smile, but I don't think she did, because I was kind of like autistic about it. It was muted for like 4 or 5 seconds. And there's no shot. These are like some weird cultivar of Deptford pink, maybe. Weird. But yeah, I was pretty upset because I couldn't smile in time. You know what I mean? But I was trying to smile at her, but instead I was just like, because I was biking. I was just getting off the main road, so I was still like hyper stimmed, so I couldn't even like verbalize. It took me like 3 seconds to organize my thoughts, to just say salam, but it was too late. I already biked by, so I couldn't say it. So here we are, lonely and not flirting with cute uwu hijab girls. Sad. My brother says this is a did nothing tomato because he did nothing. It just grew in the yard. So, celebrating the second day of fruit with this tomato from the yard. Dude, this is mad good. Here we go. Wishing I could run away, but I wouldn't know where to go or what songs to play. Like, oh, we're never coming back. Hey buddy, didn't you read the sign? It's a one-way track. Wish I could disappear like a rain cloud, morning fog, UFO, forest deers. I wish I had just a couple more friends. I'd go out and drink a couple more beers. Wish I could read your mind like a Walter War, my daddy in the NSA. Wish I could hold your hand like a chainsaw. Fuck you, go away. 'Cause I'm manic, depressive, fixated, religious grandiosity, delusions of reference, preferences for someone to fill my curiosity. Wish I could get attention from figments of my imagination, phrases of
figurative language, figure it out. Symptoms of my anxiety, panic attack, code gets written in proprietary. Self-isolation, reflected narcissistic hatred, withdrawal from drugs and medications, compartmentalizing, misanthropic disassociation. I never made it to my high school's graduation. Singing, I don't need therapy, don't need your gaslighting bullshit ADHD. I don't need therapy, don't need your Prozac or bullets for World War III. Even if the beat stops, I'll keep singing. Even if the lyrics drop, I'll keep dreaming. Even if my lungs are shot, I'll keep screaming. Oh, wishing I could run away, but I wouldn't know where to go or what to say. Oh, we're never coming back. Hey buddy, do you read the sign? It's a one-way track. Oh, wishing I could run away.